Hi, I'm Josiah.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And this is Worth Watching.
What are you doing?
Being authentic.
Not that authentic. Hello and welcome to this episode of Worth Watching. Today we're reviewing Fury, starring Brad Pitt.
Alright, so this movie takes place in World War II, and it is not strictly a true story, though it is sort of loosely based on a couple different true events, but it is a fictional movie, and it follows the crew of a tank, and the tank is called Fury, and so the movie follows this crew of this tank in Germany towards the end of World War II as they are fighting the enemy, making their way further and further into Germany towards the end of the war.
So I really appreciated the fact that they made all these characters in this movie realistic. I thought it was really great, especially they didn't make all of them likable. So there was one, Jon Bernthal.
Yeah.
He was like a jerk, and
Yeah.
you hated him. You're just like, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
But if you imagine people in the military, they're not going to be like back then in World War II. They're not all going to be like happy-go-lucky, I'm in the military. You know?
Right.
So it was really realistic, and I really liked the fact that they did that, and I also liked the fact that Shia LaBeouf, his story was told through his eyes. Like, he was crying through a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to talk, and you just knew what he was feeling, and he didn't have to say a word.
Yeah. Yeah, the characters in this movie really are great, and you really get to know them well, and not in a way that feels like you're being force-fed character backstory. It just happens naturally, where you really feel like you're there with these people. And the acting is great, especially Logan Lerman gives a great performance as sort of the greenhorn who's coming in and doesn't know what he's doing and isn't supposed to have that job of a tank gunner, but he gets thrust into it anyways. Brad Pitt also really surprised me because I don't normally see him play roles where he has to really stretch his acting capabilities. In this one, especially towards the end of the movie, he gives a really emotional performance and just does a great job. And like you said, Jon Bernthal and Shia LaBeouf, even though I really don't like Shia LaBeouf, I have to admit, really good in this movie.
I think he was really good because it was a different kind of movie. It wasn't
Yeah.
his normal... He played a different character.
And he also
was
wasn't the main
Yeah.
character, which I think really helped, that he's the side character, so he sort of has to hold his own a little more against Brad Pitt, for instance. Something that struck me about this movie that I liked was how really visceral and disturbing it was. Like, I've seen a lot of war movies and I really enjoy them, but most of them make you feel kind of like, after you watch them, kind of like, yeah, that looks hard, but I kind of wish I was there and in World War II, because not this movie. This movie, it just looks miserable and disturbing and rough all the way through it. And even a lot of the characters aren't always likable, like you said. You see these people who are supposed to be the good guys doing a lot of really bad things because they're just worn out because of this war and don't really have a great conscience in them anymore. And all those things together make this movie not your average war film.
One thing I really liked about this movie is you got to see both sides of the story, the American side and the German side, rather than just the American side.
Yeah, because like in the battles, in a lot of World War II movies, you have the Germans are just kind of the enemy in the distance who the main characters are fighting. In this, they would like subtitle all of the Germans' dialogue and cut over them and things like that during these battles so you could see what orders the German soldiers were getting and what was happening. It made the battles a lot more interesting to watch because you're kind of going back and forth between these two sides of it rather than just getting the one angle on it. So with all that in mind, what would you rate this movie on a scale of A through F?
I'd have to give this movie a solid B. I thought it was really good. It was really gory, like a war movie is supposed to be, so I think it was everything it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give it an A. I really enjoyed this movie. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Really not your average World War II film. I've also never seen a movie specifically focusing on the tank squadrons, so just it manages to make a World War II film feel original. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really powerful film.
Thanks for watching this episode of Worth Watching.
Remember to like the video if you like it, comment down below with your thoughts on Fury, and of course subscribe if you want to see more. Bye.